Now, a little bit of breaking news to bring you. Nationwide Building Society have, in the last 15 minutes or so, revealed that house price growth slowed to 4.4% last month from 7.2% in October. That is the biggest fall since June 2020.
And the average house price in November was £263,788. Property expert Russell Quirk joins us now to tell us more. Morning.
Good morning.
Is the fall or the slowdown a direct result of what happened after the ill-starred, short-lived trust budget?
There's absolutely a connection to that because that sent shockwaves through the financial markets. It resulted in gilt yields and swap rates, which of course is how fixed-rate mortgages are priced, increasing to the point that obviously some buyers started to balk at the prospect of buying a property. But I think we do need to kind of hold our nerve, frankly, because this is 1 month's numbers from one index, of which there are many. It is actually a reasonably significant monthly fall. So the monthly fall actually is 1.4%. So the average house in Britain, and kind of here's the headline, I suppose, has just lost £4,500 in value. Well, firstly, that only applies to you if you're actually going to sell, if you're actually going to go into the market. We also, I think, need to understand that no one's really tracking the value of their house month to month because nobody is in the property market really on a month-to-month investment basis. So I think we need to kind of be reasonable and circumspect when it comes to kind of isolated monthly numbers. But I think one of the biggest problems, dare I say, present company accepted, is that the media do love to bash the prospects of the property market, don't they? They like to talk about, sky-high interest rates. I don't believe that a 3% base rate or a 4.5% fixed rate mortgage, which is actually where we are, is high in historical terms.
Maybe not, but it's in the context of the cost of living crisis and everything else costing more money.
Of course, but also, what we forget is that many years ago the government introduced a thing called the MMR, which was a means of making sure that buyers were stress tested at the point of their mortgage being underwritten. So actually many of these mortgages are already factored in terms of that increase. The majority of people that are on mortgages are on fixed rates, so they're currently not affected by interest rate fluctuations. And of course, 40% of people in the UK don't have a mortgage at all. Yeah. So we need to hold our nerve, as I say, in terms of reading too much into this, because there will be headlines, I think, as a consequence of the nationwide numbers today, saying this is now going to facilitate a house price crash. That simply, in my view, in my opinion, is not going to be the case.
Would a house price crash necessarily be a bad thing?
I think it would destroy the economy, yes, because the housing market and the economy are linked in terms of sentiment. And actually, I think one of the reasons that we've seen the fall today in the nationwide numbers is because of the negative sentiment that I think has been portrayed in almost an exaggerated way over the last few weeks and months as a consequence of the Kwarteng budget. So, it is not to be seen in isolation. It does not now, in my opinion, facilitate a crash. The fundamentals around the property market, in particular what facilitates demand. So, for instance, we are a culture of home-owning wannabes. Everybody, at every age, wants to still own a home. And mortgage rates actually are not only, in my view, relatively affordable, but of course what also is underreported is the fact that interest rates on mortgages, so fixed-rate mortgages, have already started to go down significantly compared to even 4 or 5 weeks ago. During Q1 next year, because gilt yields and swap rates, which drive those fixed-rate costs, have already dropped, we will see mortgages in January, February, March cheaper than they are now.
Just if the prices do go down a little, that's going to help a lot of people. You said we're a property-owning democracy. People want to get on the property after. There are loads of people, age 35, still living with mum and dad. Yeah. I can tell you, mum and dad's fed up with having them at home.
Well, I get that. And the average age of a first-time buyer is about 34, 35. So I understand that. And of course, look, the cost of money and house prices are linked, as we know. But the sentiment around people that own their home, which is some 16 million people or whatever it is, having to see the value of their home reduce, I think we should be very, very careful about that, because if we believe and accept that your enthusiasm for all things economic, consumer spending and so on are related to the value of your home, your equity in your home, and whether that's rising or falling, I think if house prices do continue to drop, and if we talk prices down, as is my point, then if we do end up with a significant drop, I don't think that's very good for the wider economy and certainly for things like consumer spending.
Well, you're certainly not doing that. So thank you very much indeed for your thoughts. Property expert Russell Quirk not talking prices down this morning.